Welcome to Luminol on the Wall. I'm Bevy.
And I'm Becky.
And hey, Becky.
Oh, hey there, sister.
So, today's case, tell us about it. Give us the 411.
Ooh. All right. Today's case is really interesting because I personally think that there's not like a huge motive for this crime.
Okay.
Like, it happens, but you're left thinking, why?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So,
Maybe I'll try and decipher a motive myself.
well, we do know you like to read into those things for sure. And
I do.
You know, make your own theories up. So I am curious what's to come of that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited.
All right. Other than that, sister chat.
Sister chat, let's get into it.
All right.
I had my baby shower this weekend.
Yeah, you did.
And it was very sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah, and I think Craig and I were really spoiled. And it was really cute because Craig's mom made us all name tags because she figured there's a lot of people from different groups coming. And so she thought it would be super sweet. And when we started opening presents, Craig came over to open them with me, and his name tag said Dad.
Aww.
And mine just said Bevy. And I was like, what the fuck? Literally almost made me cry, but I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Why didn't you think of that?
I don't know. I guess I just wasn't I don't know. Maybe it hasn't
hit
really
you.
set in.
Yeah. Craig's like full-fledged, I'm a dad.
Yeah, he's in the dad mode.
Yeah. And Bev's like, what?
I'm a mom.
I'm just pregnant
up.
Bevy right now.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, though, that is my life. I'm just pregnant Bevy right now.
Yeah. Also, it's not like we've posted a ton of pregnant Bev on our Instagram at all.
No.
But she is absolutely the cutest little pregnant lady.
Aw, Becky.
I think I've ever seen. No offense to my friends, but it's my sister, so.
Yeah. I have gotten that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I have a very perfectly round belly.
Yeah.
It's very adorable.
You almost don't even know she's pregnant until she turns to the side and you're like, well, bam! Holy shit, there's a baby in there. Oh, there it is.
I really popped. I only have 7 weeks left, so it's coming up to baby time.
Yeah. We're hoping to get a ton more podcasts recorded in the next 7 weeks.
Good luck to us.
Good luck to us.
I gotta say, guys, if you ever want to start your own podcast, doing one a week, it's not hard or anything. Well,
No,
it can be difficult. I'm not saying starting a podcast is easy, but what I will say is you have high hopes and aspirations to be I'm going to record so much, but when you both have jobs and live
Lives.
separate and whatever, it's it can be a little bit more tough than you think. And we always have these high aspirations. We're going to record 3 in 1 week, and it's
I don't know if we've ever said that, but
well,
3 in 1 week. Come on, Bev.
2. We said 2, and even that seems a little bit tough. But.
Yeah, especially with pregnant sleepy Bevy.
Anyways, we have tried to be okay, we're going to cut ourselves off around the 3-minute mark so people don't have to listen to us chat for 7 minutes. But I do want to know, Becky, what's new in your life? Anything to report?
Oh, man. My life, although fulfilling, is actually kind of dull. Again, I was looking after more dogs. Last week we're classic Bev having a cold, and it's classic Becky just dog sitting dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my life.
That's
fluffy, cute creatures. That's all my life is, apparently.
Yeah.
I work, go to sleep, eat, look after dogs, and podcast.
It's true.
It's what I do.
And our dad just went to Mexico, and we're
so fuck him.
So we're
just kidding. Being somewhere nice and we're not. How dare he go without us?
Goddamn.
Ugh. I hope you're listening to this, Father.
Yeah, invite us next time, you little hoe.
You little hoe. Yeah. All right. Well,
so that's what's new in our lives. That's what's going on. But all that aside, let's get into this no motive case.
Let's do it.
Oh, God. Why did that sound so weird, Becky? Let's do it. I don't know what that was, but it gave me the ick. I'm just kidding.
How dare you? How dare you? I'm your sister. Nothing should give you the ick. What was that?
I'm just
gremlin evil witch laugh. I can't even mimic it. It was so weird. I've never heard you do that sound in my life.
Well, anyways, let's do it.
Oh, Bev. Anyways, Lori and Michael grew up in upstate New York in a city called Utica. They first met in the 90s in 7th grade, and they eventually started dating in their sophomore year of high school. Now, before they graduated, Michael ended up dropping out, which I don't think was a good idea. Just
Yeah.
saying.
I mean, I think it's at least important to finish your high school diploma.
Yeah, he was like really close and he just was like, yeah,
Yeah, like,
don't want
come
to.
on, you got this.
Yeah.
Finish it off.
It's like he just got tired 3/4 of the way through and was like, I'm just napping now. No more school.
So he's out.
He's out. So after Lori earned her diploma and graduated, her parents had a serious sit down with Michael. They explained that life would be a lot harder without a degree, let alone a high school diploma. And they questioned how he would ever be able to support a family. Now, Michael actually took their words to heart and he decided to go and get his GED. He was like, you're right. I made a mistake.
Ah, good for him.
Fixing that, yeah. So in 2006, Lori and Michael Shaver tied the knot. Not long after, they found out they were expecting and eventually welcomed 2 children. Not at the same time, to be clear, one after another. After their kids were born, it was around that time that Michael decided to chase his lifelong dream. He worked hard and eventually became a pilot.
Go, Michael.
I always like the idea of being a pilot myself, Bev.
I always like a story of, not like redemption, but like just someone who chooses to get their shit together. I just like it.
Me too.
It's like you're raising 2 children and you want to take care of them and you go become a pilot. Like,
that's awesome.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Michael and Lori's marriage was turbulent. Get it? Turbulent?
I didn't, but I do now because you pointed it out to me. That was good, Becky.
Thank you. I had to really be super,
Becky's like, look at how clever I was.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Notice me.
Notice me, Bevy.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. So the couple moved frequently. They bounced between New York and Florida pretty regularly. And at one point, Michael decided he no longer wanted to pursue his career as a pilot and instead enrolled in a very specialized engineering training program. This led to a job at Disney World and later Epcot. Do you know what Epcot is, Bev?
No, I was going to ask you.
Yes. I had to look it up because I had no idea. Never heard of it. I thought it was like a city.
I thought it was like an energy
what?
company. Like, like
Epcor?
Epcor?
Like Epcor?
Yeah.
Just thought it's like the US version of Epcor.
Yeah, maybe.
Epcot.
You never know.
Okay. I mean,
but it's definitely not, as I'm reading the next line.
Yeah, it's totally not. Anyways, it's just like a Disney theme park outside of Disney. So,
okay.
Something like that. Anyways, he loved his new job and he was known as a really reliable employee. Despite all their continued moves, the family finally chose a permanent home in the city of Claremont. It's 22 miles west of Orlando, Florida. According to Lori, it was around this time that Michael started to become physically abusive towards her, though.
Jeez, that took a turn for the worse. Here I am giving Michael kudos, and now there's a claim of physical abuse. I don't like that. I mean, that's a thumbs down, Michael.
That's a thumbs down. I mean, you didn't know it.
But now I do.
Now
and I say double thumbs down.
Boo earns. So in one incident, she recalled that Michael ran up and punched her as she stepped out of the shower after returning home from the gym. Just, I guess, angry. She was too clean, I guess? I don't know.
How dare you shower?
How dare you? The abuse ultimately pushed Lori to file for a restraining order against her husband, but the restraining order ended up being dropped.
Now, as you had mentioned, I like speculating on these types of things and finding themes.
You do.
And whatever. And obviously, physical abuse would be a huge motive. So I'm wondering who the fuck is murdered? Because if, in fact, Lori gets murdered, the claim of physical abuse, that would be a huge motive. Someone who's just, aggressive, physically abusive, that would make sense. So, I'm with all of our listeners on this one. Probably. I'm in the same boat. I don't know what the outcome is of this. Of course. But I just don't think that Lori is the one that ends up dying, Becky. I just don't think. Anyways, TBD. But continue on.
Well, the couple continued their relationship until mid-November of 2015. According to Lori, Michael had simply had enough, and he decided that he was leaving. But what made this strange was that he didn't file for divorce, he didn't take any of his belongings, and completely abandon his children. Even more bizarrely, he also stopped showing up for work. And on November 18th, Michael's boss finally received an email from him stating that he would not be returning to his job ever. Which is weird because he liked his job.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, assuming you like your children as well. So it's all weird.
It's definitely all weird. And the fact that I just put those puzzle pieces together, Becky, that Lori would not be the one to die because of your little motive or lack thereof hint you gave me. I'm thinking, holy crap.
You're a genius.
Did Lori just kill her husband? Yeah, I'm a genius. Thanks, Becky.
You're welcome.
But seriously, there was obviously no explanation for him leaving, no farewell, just like a blunt statement to his employer saying,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
I ain't never coming back.
I never. Well, and what's interesting is this email, it seemed off. It didn't match his usual way of writing or speaking. And leading up to this, no one had any clue that Michael was planning on leaving. Like, no friends, no family, like his close confidants. There was no signs that he was planning on leaving. No one knew where he would have even gone or what he was going to do for work. His job was fairly specialized, like a theme park, like roller coasters, those types of things, right? Like,
yeah, like he went to school for it.
Yeah, like most people don't just like have roller coasters in their backyard that need maintenance. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, and he's at a huge theme park. Like,
yeah,
one of the...
Hello, my name is Kristen Riguidel, and I'm a licensed insurance broker across Canada and in the United States. But I want to ask you a question. Is life super predictable? No, there's always going to be curveballs in life, but there's two things that I can guarantee you. One, we're all going to have to pay taxes, and two, we're all going to die. I know, it's morbid, right? But it's true. And that's where life insurance comes in. Life insurance is a selfless act. At the end of the day, it's meant for your loved ones in the event you were to pass away unexpectedly. And not that money can ever replace us, but I always liked the idea of leaving some money behind for my brothers, whether that be for their college education, or a down payment on a house, or even just time off of work to grieve. Because the last thing I would want for my family is to have to go to work and pay the bills while they're grieving. And so life insurance gives you the peace of mind that no matter when you pass away, your loved ones are taken care of. With flexible plans, affordable premiums, and coverage that fits your unique needs, I do the shopping around for you so that you can get the protection without the hassle. Because taking care of your future doesn't have to be complicated. If you'd like to discuss options, you can send me an email at krigidel15lrxc@wfgmail.ca or give me a phone call at 403-785-7670 to learn more and get a free quote today so you can live tomorrow with peace of mind.
Yeah,
best.
You'd have to like move to another area that has a theme park of sorts, right? And
yeah, of
rides
course.
And blah, blah, blah.
And also, like, why would he leave his children? Obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
Why? He loved his kids. He was a good father. So at first the situation seemed bizarre, but not overly alarming. Even though Michael had disappeared from his job and home, he was still really active online, making posts and updates on Facebook, sending emails to friends and family. And so since people could still see what he was up to, there wasn't all that much concern, like maybe he just was becoming a recluse, I don't really know why that would happen out of the blue, but...
Yeah, people are still hearing from him, so to speak.
Exactly. Now, that all changed in February of 2018, so about 2.5 years after he was last seen.
Oh my god, it was that long?
Oh yeah, it wasn't just like a month or two. It was years.
Well, don't let me stop you. Keep going.
Well, one of Michael's really close friends started thinking a little more deeply about this situation, and he decided to do some digging. They spoke with several other people, all of whom confirmed that the same unsettling fact. No one had actually seen Michael in person or spoken to him on the phone and had any real-life confirmation that he was okay in the past 2.5 years. It was all online. The more his friend thought about it, the stranger it seemed. And concerned for Michael's well-being, his friend went to the police and reported Michael as a missing person. They requested a welfare check, but when officers started looking into his whereabouts, they found nothing. So they do like a little background, like, does he have a job somewhere? Did he just not want to be found? Like, that
they're going to do a welfare check.
Yeah.
And I like that they're being thorough.
Exactly. So they couldn't find any current address, no job record, no active phone number. His trail was completely blank. And based on the available records, if they didn't know any better, Michael was still living at his last known residence with Lori and their children. So with nowhere else to go, the police head over to the Shaver home. When they arrived, Lori answered the door. They explained to her that a welfare check had been requested for her husband Michael, and they asked if they could search the house. Now Lori agreed she had no issue with it, and she told officers that Michael had left in November of 2015, and he never returned. At first glance, nothing seemed out of place in the home, and it looked like that Lori and the children just simply carried on without him. But when the officers went into the backyard, they noticed a fire pit. It had a concrete base with Lori's name signed in it, like you know how people do when it's wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This fire pit wasn't always there. It had been laid in May of 2016, and this was about 6 months after Michael had supposedly left. Lori told officers that she had done it herself as a DIY project. Now, considering these circumstances and the timing, police decided that this needed a closer look. They asked Lori for permission to return with cadaver dogs to search the property.
Oh, God.
But, Bevy, this is when things take a turn. Lori immediately shuts down the search. She refuses to allow them to bring in the dogs.
Obviously, because, I mean, if anyone thinks the same as me, like, that's his tomb right there. Right? Like, come on. And then all of a sudden you get a little shady. It's like they didn't believe your little DIY project bullshit. And now you're like, hell no, you can't bring those dogs around. Get fucking bent.
Yeah, that's pretty much, not in so many words, but that is what she said, yes.
Yeah, she's like, hell no.
Yeah, so obviously this kind of jarred them a bit. They're like, oh, really? You don't want us to come back? So this reaction combined with everything else only made this situation more suspicious. The police applied for a warrant, arguing that there was probable cause to search the property. And you know what? The judge agreed. He's like, yeah, that sounds like a good plan, guys. So, almost a whole month later, on March 9th, 2018, police returned with a search warrant. And they went straight for that fire pit, Bev. They're like, that has to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
And they started digging. 3 feet down, they found human skeletal remains. Surely it had to be Michael, right?
Well, when you say it like that, I'm doubting everything I thought to be true, Becky. But yeah, that's what I was thinking, obviously.
Obviously. Now, this wasn't the outcome that anyone had hoped for, but given Lori's reaction to the fire pit questions, it wasn't entirely surprising either. Now, the body was wrapped in a blue tarp, tied down with green straps. Based on the level of decomposition, it was clear that the person had been dead for quite some time, eventually roughly determined as at least 2 years.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, to confirm the officer's suspicion, the DNA from the remains was sent off with a sample of Michael's father's DNA for testing. And you know what? Came back as a match, Bev. It was Michael.
You tried to trick me, you bitch.
I did.
But okay, that's sad. That's devastating.
Yeah, it was, right? It was also determined that Michael had been shot once in the back of the head with a .38 caliber gun, and like I said, he had been dead for at least 2 years, based on the decomposition level, which was just skeletal remains. Which poses the question, who was behind all those Facebook messages, posts, and emails? Because, sure wasn't Michael.
Well, yeah. Could Lori be that conniving? I mean, she literally signed her name in the cement, which is, number one, if she's responsible, just, like, sick as fuck. Like, that's gross.
Yeah, it's kind of like a big ol', like, fuck you.
100%.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of that case that we covered. And they actually did, like, a Netflix special, I'm pretty sure, on it. Where, remember, there's the love triangle. And the one girl kills the other girl that was seeing the same guy out of jealousy. And then pretends to be her for, like, years.
Oh, yeah, our podcast
is called, like, it
only takes 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So go listen to that one, because that one's really interesting. It's a similar concept.
Yeah, it's a similar concept. So, like, do I think it's so far-fetched that Lori could be behind those Facebook messages? Like, no. Especially if she's trying to cover up a potential murder that she has committed, you know? Like, why wouldn't you?
And also, it would probably be pretty easy to pretend to be your spouse.
Yeah.
You have access to their cell phone, computer.
You know their password. You have all that shit, right?
Sometimes,
well, I mean,
most of the time.
Maybe not everyone.
Some people do, yeah.
But like,
You could figure it out, I'm sure.
yeah. I mean, I have Craig's go-to passwords. I feel like he has mine too.
Yeah.
I mean, not all couples do that, but you know, I just feel like it's not so far-fetched that she would have that information and would do that.
For sure.
So,
Well,
are
Bev,
you shady, Lori?
Are you shady? Well, you think she's suspicious. The police now thinks that she's suspicious. So the investigators start digging into her digital records. One, the first red flag was the complete lack of communication between her and Michael after November 15th. There hadn't been a single text, a single phone call, email, or even social media message between them. She never tried to contact him, and he never tried to contact her, which is absolutely strange just for the simple fact that they had children together. Wouldn't Michael, like, no matter the circumstances, want to know what's going on in their lives at least? And if I, as a mother, I would want my partner or ex-partner to know what's up with my children. If they were sick, if they were doing cool things in school, like whatever. I'd want to keep them updated on their lives, even if they left me.
True that.
You know?
That. In addition, Becky, if my partner just up and left me out of the blue, like someone I had been married to for years, like I would probably, just out of like the shock of them leaving, probably reach out at some point, right? Like that's so much history to have with somebody, and to just be like, oh, you chose to leave? Cool. Yeah, never again speaking to you, not once. I just feel like that in and of itself is also weird.
Yeah. Even like if you tried to reach out and they completely ignored you, like maybe they met someone else or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like not even like, test the waters.
Not even one little text. I just feel like she knew that she couldn't because he would not message back.
It's a possibility, Bev. Then came the biggest discovery. When investigators tracked the IP addresses linked to all of Michael's social media posts after his disappearance, they all traced back to Lori's computer and home.
There it is.
They also learned that in early 2016, just a few months after Michael left, he started missing his car payments, eventually leading to his car being repossessed right in front, like from Lori's home. So he left his car behind. He also missed his credit card payments, and the company had been attempting to sue him for the outstanding balance, but because he couldn't be found, he couldn't be served any papers, therefore halting this lawsuit in its tracks. And you know what? I feel like companies who are owed money, they will find you.
Yeah, they'll do what they can to find you, right?
They will find you.
And the fact that they didn't find him, well, we know why.
Yeah.
Because he was buried 3 feet under.
Dead.
Literally.
Now, what's kind of surprising, so let's say he did just uproot his life and stop talking to anyone, meaning his wife and children. On top of that, he let his driver's license, his pilot license, and his passport all expire. Passport, whatever. Maybe you don't want to fly somewhere, but to let your licenses, drivers, and pilot license expire, that seems weird. Like, how are you getting around?
Yeah, I feel like the pilot license is like,
whatever,
but like your driver's license, that's a huge one.
Yeah. Now, this all seemed really odd because there are very few reasons a person would let all of those expire, right? Like,
yep.
Bev, if you had to give me some situations why someone would let all 3 expire, what would you think? What reasons would you have?
For letting all those things expire?
Yep.
I got a new identity.
Okay. Good
and
one.
I've moved to like another country somewhere. Honestly, I want to end my life.
Okay.
I just like,
yep,
let those things go. Those are the 2 I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, here's a really odd one.
Okay.
Sovereign citizen. Do you know what a sovereign citizen is, Bebby?
Do I know what a sovereign citizen is? Who lived on Cherry Lane?
What? It's like, do you know the Muffin Man?
I know. Do you know what a sovereign citizen is? No.
I don't. But based on that, no, you have no idea. Okay, so like, don't quote me on a definition fact, but basically, they're like a group of people who become sovereign citizens and don't conform to like laws in society.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like, I've seen so many videos online where it's like, someone gets pulled over and the officer's like, ma'am, do you know your license is expired? And they're like, what license? I don't need a license to drive. And he's like, oh, in the state of Florida, you sure fucking do, you dummy. Everyone needs a license, right? But these sovereign citizens just like will not conform to like law.
Okay.
Like, governing law, basically. So that's one. Now you see why I said that?
Well,
Sure.
I want to know, when you were writing this podcast and this came about, were you Googling, like, reasons why potential people would do this? And you're like, it popped up. The first one was like, if you were a sovereign citizen. It's like, Becky asked ChatGPT, like,
No.
what reasons could there be for this?
How dare you? That's my own brain.
Well,
How dare you?
sorry.
No, I actually have been watching lots of videos of these sovereign citizens. You say I like sometimes watching like Karen videos where people are just,
Fails.
or well, where people get DUIs and they're absolutely just like unruly. And within that same like general topic of videos, the sovereign citizen videos come in,
Okay.
and they are fucking rude.
The sovereign citizens.
Oh my god, I cannot. I don't even care if I offend a sovereign citizen. To be honest,
Because you're like, fuck
it's
you.
fucking dumb. Laws are made to keep order.
It's true, Becky. We need law.
We need order.
Law and order.
Yes.
I'm with you. I'm
Thank you,
totally with
Bevy.
you. But okay, good job with your brain. Your brain's good.
Top notch.
Top notch.
Thanks,
you got
Bevy.
this.
Thanks, you.
Well, so we've named 3 reasons why that could possibly be,
Yeah.
and they're all rather unlikely for just an average Joe. You know,
I
who,
agree.
Number 1 was obviously a law-abiding citizen in the first place,
Yes.
and
Pays his taxes, I'm
yeah.
sure.
well, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
We don't
actually
know really, but the point is that it's very unlikely that any of those reasons actually were the cause of this.
Exactly. So obviously, with this information, the detectives confront Lori about it all, and specifically the IP address. Now, she tells them that she wasn't the only person that had access to her computer, and she goes into this elaborate story. She explained that in September of 2015, her and Michael were in a trial separation, and that's when Lori had met a man named Jeremy Townsend. Lori told investigators they had met at her daughter's school. She noticed this man staring at her, and he eventually approached her and handed her a note that read, "I know what you're going through. I can help you. Call me, Jeremy." So Lori calls Jeremy, and according to Lori, Jeremy tells her that he is also separated from his wife, and after a lengthy conversation, the two end up falling for each other. Now, to give some context to this note, Lori explained that she was covered in bruises because, as we said earlier, Michael was very physically abusive through their relationship.
So she says.
So she says.
Yes.
So, according to her, Jeremy is very concerned with her well-being, just as like a complete stranger apparently, and wanted to help her, which is good for him if that's how it goes down. Now, Lori said she kind of saw this new relationship as a way out, a chance to be with someone who felt safe and could help her escape from Michael. Now, Jeremy had told her that he was married but separated, so she believed she wasn't doing anything wrong. However, as time went on, she discovered that he had been lying. While dating Lori, he had secretly got back together with his wife, but continued to see Lori without her knowledge. Now, despite this betrayal, this relationship ended up boosting Lori's confidence. It made her realize that she did not need Michael, and it gave her the strength to finally take action. So on November 10th, 2015, she told Michael just to leave. And just like that, she kicked him out.
So wait, just to be clear, am I misremembering when her initial statement or the initial story was that he left her? Did she not say that?
No, she did say that. That's what she had told friends and family. She had many stories throughout these 2 years, and that's kind of the problem. But when she's confronted with this IP address, this is what she's telling the police.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that I was remembering that right, because I was confused for a second. But anyways, okay.
Yeah.
So she's just making shit up at this point.
Yeah. She's
Well, at
giving some
least.
variations of a story.
Okay.
Now, Lori claimed that after Michael left, she had no idea where he was living or why he had quit his job. The only thing she had heard was a vague rumor that he had possibly moved to Georgia. So that's all she knew, apparently. Now, shortly after Michael left, Lori began dating a new man named Travis Filmer. And by May 2016, they planned to have a commitment ceremony in Lori's backyard. Now, since they couldn't legally get married, that's all they could do, because technically she was still married to Michael, right? But before they could have their ceremony, things changed. Lori said she was at home in early May of 2016 when, out of nowhere, Michael suddenly showed up and attacked her. According to her, this was the worst assault she had ever endured from him. He shoved her to the ground, stomped on her head, kicked her a bunch of times, and threatened to kill her. Now, during this brutal attack, Jeremy arrived at the house. When he saw what was going on, he ran into Lori's bedroom, grabbed the gun from Lori's bedside table that she was notoriously known for keeping there. He came back out, and he shot Michael in the back of the head, killing him on spot. Lori said she was absolutely horrified, not just because Michael was dead, but because her 7-year-old daughter, Isabella, was inside the house. She panicked, not wanting her children to see their father's lifeless body, so she packed them all up and left, leaving Jeremy behind to clean up the mess. Now, in case anyone did not catch that, Jeremy is the first guy that she was in a relationship with.
Why did he all of a sudden show up? Like, isn't she trying to get married or like have this ceremony with this other guy?
Yes.
What was his name again, Becky?
Travis?
Travis. Yeah, Travis Filmer. So, okay, keep going, because I'm like, how did this all happen? Like, all of a sudden he just shows up as like the knight in shining armor, like kind of saving the day of her getting like brutally attacked by one of her physically abusive exes. Like, what is going on? What is going on? Are the cops listening to this? Like,
oh yeah, they're like, okay,
like
now,
keep fucking talking. That's what they're saying. Like, keep going. We need all this information, actually.
Exactly. So she said when she returned, Michael's body was gone. And Lori insisted she had no idea what Jeremy had done with it, and that it wasn't until the police showed up 2 years later that she started putting things together about the fire pit.
I can't. Okay.
Now, Lori explained that before Michael left in 2015, together they had started digging a hole in the backyard because they intended to build a duck pond. But after Michael left / kicked out / who knows, the project was abandoned, leaving behind a ugly hole. And because that hole was already present, she had no indication that Jeremy hid Michael's body there. I mean, that would probably be my first assumption, to be honest. Be like, oh, there's already a half-dug hole. I bet a body's there, you know? Like, come on.
Okay, because I was like, how is she going to explain the fire pit thing? Like, really, how is she going to do it? Okay.
So that's how, Bev. Okay, so after the attack, Lori and Travis, the second guy, they decided to still have their commitment ceremony just a couple days after Michael was shot.
Okay, wait. So Travis was there too.
You know, he was not there.
So he was informed, and he was like, "Cool, sounds good to me."
Well, okay, at this point, I don't know if he's informed, but he's still down for the ceremony.
All right.
Okay, so in order to get the backyard ready for said ceremony, Lori and Travis rented a cement mixer and bought a bunch of cement. They built a fire pit, which consisted of this concrete base, and the hole was filled.
Okay, but as per her claim, she didn't know the body was in there.
Exactly.
She just coincidentally decided to make her backyard look prettier for this event and put cement in the hole. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know. Like, obviously, the police and, like, officers are sitting there and be like, really? Like, exactly what you said, right? And Bev, she insisted that this was just pure coincidence that the fire pit ended up right on top of Michael's body just days after he had been shot. Pure coincidence.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to, like, burst out laughing. Like, it's all really, really sad because obviously Michael has been killed in this situation. It's a pretty devastating part of the story to learn that he really did lose his life.
Yeah.
When he did go missing, and that's truly just very, very sad. But her story is just so ridiculous. It's like,
you want to laugh because you're sitting there being like, do you think the police are actually believing, like, what you're saying?
Yeah, like, you have to know this is just, like, a little bit
outlandish.
It's just a little bit all too, like, I don't know, like, you know, when there's, like, an explanation for every little thing, and it's, like, so detailed because you have to make sure that, like, all your bases are covered, that everything about the situation has to be perfectly explained so your innocence is, like, at the forefront of the police officer's mind.
Yeah.
But then it obviously doesn't come across that way, but it's just, like, that is what she's doing. It's not just like, oh, yeah, we built a fire pit. Like,
It's like, well, there was a duck pond, so there's already a hole built. We had to clean it. We had to cover it because, my commitment ceremony was going to be in my backyard. It's just like,
Yeah, but then
one
in
thing,
the middle of all of that, a body was placed in there, and I had just no idea.
I know
And like, honestly, if you're getting attacked by your ex in such a brutal way, and he gets shot out of like defense for you and like your well-being, like call the cops. Like.
Yeah, like if you did, like truly, if you did that in self-defense and did nothing wrong, why wouldn't you have called the cops?
And then why make up a story to all of his friends and family and everyone around town?
Pretend to be him for like 2 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what's funny about all of this that really is the kicker for me, Beck, is that it all started when they asked about the IP address. And she really hasn't given like a solid explanation for that. Like she like literally said everything else but that. It was like she kind of alluded to the fact that maybe Jeremy could have access to this IP address, but
maybe Travis.
But she really didn't like answer the question.
She's kind of just going around.
Yeah, she kind of like word vomited like the whole story she's been like thinking up in her head this whole 2.5 years since Michael has gone missing.
For sure, and it's all just coming out a little weird. Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought, I was like, why is she not answering the question? What is all this like extra shit?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, Bev, something you did touch on is like, why wouldn't she have reported this like death?
Yeah.
If it was truly like self-defense and Jeremy really did come to her like
aid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Lori explained the reason why she didn't call anyone is because she feared that if the police or social services found out about the extreme abuse in the home and then learned that Michael had died while her daughter was present or her children were present, they would have taken them away from her.
I doubt that, Becky. I actually do doubt that.
I mean, I do think there might be an investigation.
But I doubt it.
Right?
It's like you're getting attacked by somebody.
Why would they take your children away?
Why would they take your children away?
Yeah. She even said she wasn't necessarily worried about getting arrested, she said, because she was innocent, She didn't do anything wrong. Jeremy was the one who pulled the trigger. So it's just kind of like, well, if you can confidently say that, let's hypothetically say she can confidently say that, why wouldn't you have called? Like, why? Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't have. Like,
no.
It just is stupid. It's like she is trying to convince herself that this is logical.
Yeah.
So we're not buying the story. The police aren't buying the story. So naturally the police follow up and go speak with Jeremy, who was gobsmacked with these allegations. He told them, yes, he and Lori had relations. They met when they were both still married. Jamie.
Oh, whoa.
Jamie.
What a little... Got Jamie on the parade.
Okay.
Oh. Hey, Jamie. You're getting lucky tonight.
Oh,
no,
God,
just kidding.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Embarrassing. Let's not bring that up again. I meant to say Jeremy.
I'm gonna pee. Okay, keep going.
All right, so Jeremy said that you can't.
No, he had never separated from his wife.
Yes. He had,
which we knew, right?
Yes. He had never separated from her, and he never told Lori that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he said that, like, she just kind of made that up. They were both cheating on their partners.
Oh, shit, Becky.
Yeah. Now, apparently, within their little affair, Lori had gotten a tattoo near her vagina with Jeremy's nickname in a heart. Now, Jeremy said this was a bit of a wake-up call. It was the moment he realized that he believed Lori had more serious feelings for him than he did for her. Like, he was always, although cheating on his wife, he was still number one committed to his wife, regardless, right? So he became a little concerned when he realized that she did that.
I mean, okay.
It's next level.
It is next level.
Yeah.
Near her vagina? No way.
Yeah, man.
Like, wouldn't she be worried that Michael would see that, though? Like, also, right? They're both cheating on their partners, so, like, kind of weird that she would do that. It's like a stamp being like, hey, I'm cheating on you.
No, to be clear, though, Bev, I do not know if she did that after Michael was already missing.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but it was just that moment that Jeremy was like, uh-oh.
I'm not okay
I
with
think
this.
she's in love with me.
Yeah, like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, this has gone too far.
So in February of 2016, Jeremy started wearing his wedding band again, and Lori wasn't happy about it. And Lori let it be known, and the couple actually started fighting about it. Now, a little while after this whole wedding band realization, Jeremy's wife, Vanessa, started receiving Facebook messages from Michael Shaver's account. Then text messages started coming in from someone claiming to be Michael. However, Vanessa just ignored these messages, but then in April 2016, something strange happened. She received a flower delivery at her workplace, and the message attached to the flowers read, "Roses are red, violets are blue. My wife is a whore. Your husband is too." In brackets, said sorry about this. Then check your Facebook messages. We need to talk. Mike. Now, that got her attention.
Well, yeah.
Like, how could it not, right?
Roses are red and violets are blue. My wife is a whore. Your husband is too. I'm sorry. It's like, okay.
All right, yep. Okay. So after that, Vanessa finally checked her Facebook messages. And in those messages, and I'm putting air quotes, Mike Shaver told her that he had installed a spy app on Lori's phone, like spyware. And according to him, this app had captured text messages and explicit photos exchanged between Lori and Jeremy. Messages and photos that he then shared with Vanessa. Mike claimed that he wasn't trying to be malicious. He said his only reason for reaching out was to expose the affair and encourage Vanessa to leave Jeremy. Now, if this is Lori behind that, Bev.
Which I have no qualms about the fact that it is, but go on. Yes, if it is.
Like, was she trying to just get Jeremy all to herself?
Yes, 100%. That has to be it, Becky.
So then was Travis just the goddamn pawn? Because she was like fixing to do this commitment ceremony with him, but trying to get Jeremy back or break up Vanessa and Jeremy?
Well, it probably and obviously must not have worked because
It did not work.
exactly. So he's like the rebound. Travis,
Poor guy.
poor guy, was
guy.
the rebound.
Never works. Never works. So within these conversations between Vanessa and Mike, Vanessa mentioned the possibility of staying with her husband. But Mike insinuated that Lori might be pregnant with Jeremy's child. And as if that weren't enough, he also went as far as to recommend a good divorce attorney for Vanessa. Now, as you can imagine, Vanessa is totally disturbed by this whole situation, right?
As she should be.
Yeah, and she confronts Jeremy. Now, he didn't deny a single thing. He admitted to the whole affair. Vanessa decided to forgive him, and the couple worked really hard to repair their marriage. But Jeremy explained that after that moment, he had not seen Lori since, and he did not shoot Michael.
Right, so now I am almost wondering, like, if we put ourselves in Lori's shoes, and we are obviously assuming she has killed Michael, it would seem that she fell in love with Jeremy, got rid of Michael, because he's obviously in the way, right? She's married to him. She needs him gone to fully commit to Jeremy. Jeremy basically disses her and is like, I'm working things out with my wife. Like, get lost. And so she tries to frame him for murder when the opportunity arises. Like, is that what's happened, Bex? Is it?
It kind of seems like it.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that could be a motive.
I guess so.
Revenge. And, you know, that whole thing, like, I want you all to myself. Like, those two motives, you know? I want this guy all to myself. So I'm going to kill Michael.
Who's in the way.
And then trying to frame this other guy for murder because she wants revenge.
Because he didn't get with her.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking anyways.
Okay, well, there you go, Bev. See?
Bevy's theory of the day, y'all.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me? Do you?
How can you not?
Yeah, so if you guys agree with me, like, reach out. Because
Let her
Becky
know.
said this was motiveless, and I am finding motives. Okay?
No murder is motiveless.
Yeah, no, it's so true. No murder is motiveless.
Yeah.
But it is, I can see how it's a little bit convoluted in this sense.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, after hearing all this from Jeremy and Lori, the police are like, oh, well, I think she's guilty. Body in the backyard, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I think she's guilty. So, on September 17th, 2020, Lori was arrested for the murder of her husband, Michael Shaver. She was charged with second-degree murder, domestic violence, and accessory after the fact. And to all charges, she pled not guilty. So, let's fast forward to September 24. And her trial...
September 24, Becky.
Oh, did I say just 24?
Yeah.
2024, Lori's trial finally begins. Now, the prosecution argued that Michael was actually murdered in November of 2015, not in May 2016 as Lori claimed. They stated that Lori lied about everything, that Jeremy was never involved, and that Michael's murder was not in self-defense at all. Now, the evidence that supported the prosecution's timeline is Lori's neighbor, several of them, recalled a horrible stench coming from the Shavers' backyard in the fall of 2015. Lori suddenly adopted a potbelly pig. When the neighbors started complaining about this odor, Lori casually blamed her new pig, being like, he's just so stinky. But no one believed her because that smell had started before the pig arrived. Now, this led the prosecution to believe that Michael had been killed much earlier than Lori claimed and that she was trying to cover it up then and ever since. Now, after November 9th, Michael Shaver's debit card was never used for an in-person purchase ever again. However, on November 19th and 23rd, 2 online purchases were made on Wish.com.
This was in 2015.
Yeah.
Like right after he, quote-unquote, left.
Like days.
Mm-hmm.
And this purchase was for women's lingerie and clothing, both shipped to Lori Shaver's residence. So if he's gone, like, why would he have done that? Like, oh, I'm sorry for leaving. Here's, like, my one final gift. Here's some lingerie that I don't get to benefit from at all.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't think so.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's, like, so twisted. All I can think of is, like, Lori being so excited that Michael is, like, out of the picture that she can, like, go get a tattoo near her, the JJ, with Jeremy's name on it, get some sexy lingerie to, like...
seduce him again.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Or get
like,
down and dirty with him, have a hot, rompy night.
Totally speculation. But
Of
yes,
course.
Becky. Yes, that's what I thought of.
That's what's popping in there. So here are a couple more things that the prosecution used in the trial to prove their timeline. One of them being on November 30th, 2015, Mariner Finance mailed a loan check to Michael's home for him. It was endorsed on December 11th with an unreadable signature. It was virtually just chicken scratch.
Which obviously calls into question whether it was really signed
Michael.
by him.
Exactly. This check was then deposited at an ATM in Claremont on December 14th. So also not in Georgia like Lori had said he was there, right?
Yes.
Then over the next 2 weeks, ATM withdrawals, online purchases, and utility payments totaling over $2,000 came out of Michael's account, making it overdrawn. Some of the purchases included children's items from Walmart. And all of these payments and products that were purchased were all shipped or associated with Lori's address in Florida.
Right, which doesn't make sense because he's not even supposed to be there. So why would his card be used?
Why would a loan check be cashed, there? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all kind of painting this picture like that he was dead.
Yeah.
And Lori was doing this on
like
her
on his
own.
behalf.
Yeah. Now, on top of that, that loan check from Mariner Finance, they never received a single payment towards that loan. Even though they tried to get in contact with Michael several times over the next 3 years. Now, another thing that they had a witness for was in early December of 2015, a man named Joseph Bray had met up with Lori at her home where he purchased 9 firearms, reloading gear, and cleaning supplies, all for about $1,000. Now, Lori told this man that her husband had left months earlier and that she was selling all his stuff. At that time, she also offered to sell Joseph Michael's Ford vehicle, without a title, I might add, a tractor, as well as the property they lived in. So she was, trying to sell literally everything, Bev.
Right. And all of this really just alludes to the fact that he is not on the earth in 2015 in December.
Yeah.
So I get why they would bring that up in court. They're like, if he literally was killed in May of 2016, why are you trying to get rid of his shit earlier? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, there would be no reason to. It also kind of debunks Lori's story of Jeremy killing him, right?
Yeah,
In
no,
May.
totally. It absolutely does, Becky.
Yeah. Now, Jeremy ended up testifying as well that in December, he had gone to Lori's house for the first time, and he actually noticed what appeared to be bloodstains on the jeans that Lori was wearing. He asked her about it, and she went and changed her jeans and never wore them again. Now, the weird thing is that Lori wore these jeans regularly.
Right, so her just, like, all of a sudden never wearing them again, it's like...
He was like, okay, sure. That's not sketchy at all.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, I caught you with some evidence on your jeans, and then all of a sudden they're literally never seen again.
Right?
Kind of weird.
And at that time, it's not like Jeremy knew that her husband was missing. You know, he had no idea. So why would he have thought anything other than like, oh, weird, why do you have blood on your jeans? Oh, you get a nosebleed. I don't know why else, but you know, things.
Yeah, but like in hindsight, he's like, then I never saw those jeans ever again. So like that kind of makes it weird. Yeah.
Right? Now, the other thing that the prosecution wanted to be made known in this trial was that they believed that Lori was the aggressor in the relationship, not Michael. One of Lori's friends testified that Lori admitted to her that she was causing her own bruises and cuts to make it look like Michael was abusing her. So that's just wrong. I think anyone who does that is a little off. They also had one of Michael's co-workers testify, and he said that 3 to 4 months before Michael's disappearance, he had come to work with bruises on his face, chest, and arms. And when he asked him like what happened, Michael admitted Lori had punched him multiple times with her fists after an argument, but said that he couldn't fight back because it wasn't worth it. He also recalled Michael saying Lori once threw something at him in anger. It missed and shattered a kitchen window. On top of that, Lori was known to keep a pink .38 caliber revolver on her nightstand. Now, jumping back a bit to 2014, Lori and Michael were having like an argument, and in this incident, Lori went and got this revolver from her side table and hit Michael in the head with this gun, and it caused a huge cut on his scalp. However, the police were called, and as a result, he was arrested for simple battery, and I think at that point they were just trying to separate the two because it seemed pretty volatile. Now, one of Michael's friends reported that right after Michael had been released from jail, he drove Michael home to gather his belongings. Lori came out and was super angry at Michael, and in a fit of rage, Lori threw this handgun at him. And the prosecution believed that this incident further highlighted the volatility and the dangerous nature of this relationship, with Lori demonstrating aggression and a willingness to use firearms during their conflicts. It was after this incident that the couple separated for a while. Like, I'm gonna take space, Lori.
Right. It's kind of interesting, though, that Michael was the one that was arrested for battery.
Yeah.
After he has a laceration to his head.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you wonder what was said when the police were called.
For sure.
Like, what story they were given or what have you. Because, like, it just doesn't really make sense that he would be the one to be arrested. But the only thing I can really think of is, like, maybe police err on the side of caution when, like, going to domestic disputes, in the sense that, like, they might tend to believe the woman over the man, because I think sometimes, especially when it comes to domestic violence, like, there's this, like, stigma that, like, men are the typical aggressors, so maybe that's why he was the one arrested in all of this. Like, you never know, she could have been like, I was acting in self-defense, he was, like, violent towards me, because, like, otherwise it just doesn't make sense that he was the one arrested.
Oh, for sure. And going back to what her friend testified to, saying that she admitted to, like, harming herself to make it look like Michael did this, maybe, you know, sometimes the police just don't know 100% who the aggressor is. So at that point, it's probably just better to separate them and clear that.
Yeah.
Now, it is said that after this incident, Michael was forced to take, like, classes and not be so aggressive, which he had a year to complete, and he did it in 6 months. So I assume he's just trying to make everything easy and just get it over with.
It kind of fits with who he is as a person, right?
Yeah.
Like, at the beginning, when he had children, like, he went out of his way to get his education, get a good paying job, and then even progressed his career. Like, I just think it goes with his character to get it done in 6 months and not taking the full year, you know? Like,
yeah. And just kind of smooth things over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But interesting nonetheless that he had to do all of that because he was arrested and whatever.
Yeah.
So
after Michael left, and they were separated. He lived in one of the hangars at work. And during that time frame, Michael actually met another woman named Kendall. They both were working at Disney, and they began dating from November 2014 to May 2015. At that time, interestingly enough, Lori was also dating someone, too. Despite them both having relationships, Lori forbade Michael from seeing anyone. And when she found out about Kendall, she relentlessly harassed her. Lori sent threatening messages, accusing Kendall of being a homewrecker. And by April 2015, Lori escalated things even more. She filed a complaint against Kendall with Disney HR, using photos from Kendall's Facebook as supposed evidence. She also created fake Facebook accounts to stalk and harass her. Michael was well aware of Lori's behavior and seemed to be constantly looking over his shoulder because of it. Before meeting up with Kendall, he would often check to see if Lori was following him. And in early 2015, he even warned Kendall to start parking in a different lot at work because Lori was on her way with a gun. Whether or not she'd do anything, I don't know. But either way, he's like, I don't want you to be that involved, right?
Yeah,
Now,
I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
Don't know what she's capable of at this point.
Exactly. So with this harassment getting out of hand and fearing it could cost her job, Kendall ultimately ended the relationship in May of 2015.
Very interesting behavior on Lori's part.
Right?
Like, it just seems like that classic domestic abuse trope of like, if I can't have you, no one will. It's like, I was even seeing somebody else, but because you moved on, like, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to threaten and harass the both of you, basically, because, yeah, no one else can have you but me.
Yeah. So I'm going to get what I want, basically.
So all things considered, Becky, I do think that the prosecution has done a pretty decent job at articulating that she was potentially the aggressor in the relationship. Like,
yeah,
kind of seems like it, right?
I think so too. There's enough people that had these experiences to be like, you know what, maybe she wasn't quite the battered woman she described.
Yeah, she seems rather threatening.
Mm-hmm. And if she was, it obviously was like mutual aggression going back and forth.
Yeah, at the very least.
At the very least.
Yeah.
So the prosecution also brought in a family friend of the Shavers who showed the courts that a text exchange between 2014 and 2015, and it was with Michael. Michael said to her, "She wants my life insurance."
He's obviously referring
to Lori.
Yeah.
His friend says, "She's got to kill you first." I assume his friend said that in like a haha, she's got to kill you first, like joking way, right?
Well, obviously, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like if
I said nothing, and I'm like, you know what I mean?
like, and I'm
but
like,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I do.
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean.
I mean, as we're on a true crime podcast, obviously we know what Mary means.
Obviously.
So what did Michael say to her?
Well, he responded with, "She tried to yesterday, I'm sure."
Wait, what?
Now, kind of the problem with is the family friend couldn't recall the exact date of the text, but stated it was saved on an old phone. She also said that Michael had told her that Lori on several occasions had taken over his communication, often pretending to be him on Facebook and through his text messages.
Well, that tracks, Becky.
Yeah. Now, Bev, here is the most shocking part of this whole damn trial.
I'm sorry, I read ahead. So my reaction was a little bit like,
shocked.
Before your words.
Too early.
Yeah, too early. Jeez, Beth, damn it. But, okay.
Okay.
Tell everyone listening.
So this shocking moment is when Isabel Shaver, Lori and Michael's daughter, who now is a teenager, took the stand. So to preface, at the time Michael disappeared, she was only 7 years old. Okay. So in court, she said that one day in May of 2016, when she was only 7, as I said, she came home from school to find her father attacking her mother. She said it was absolutely terrifying. Her father hadn't been around since November of 2015, and now he was back hurting her mom. Then she made a jaw-dropping claim. She was the one who shot her dad. According to Isabel, she was so scared for her mother's life that she ran into Lori's bedroom, grabbed the gun that she knew was stashed there, ran back and shot her father in the head. However, the shot did not kill him. It definitely disabled him a bit, but he wasn't dead. So at that time, Lori called Jeremy over to help. Isabel testified that Jeremy then shot Michael a second time before burying his body. Now, obviously, this is very shocking testimony, but there are some serious problems with it.
100%. And I'm already thinking of them as we speak.
I bet you are, Bev. Now, the first one was Isabel was only 7 years old at the time. She had no experience handling guns, making it pretty unlikely that she would have been able to shoot someone like in the head.
Yeah, so
You know?
precisely.
Yeah, overall, the head's a pretty small target compared to like torso, right?
Yeah.
Now, her statement to the court didn't match what she originally told the police when she was first interviewed. She had said nothing about shooting her father. Now, I can't elaborate to what her original story was because it is not online. I cannot find it anywhere, Bev. They must have like kind of redacted it or kept it private. Maybe because she was so young.
Yeah, she's a minor.
Yeah. So we don't actually know what the differences are. We only know that the prosecution said, that's not what you told us to begin with.
Right.
Because
Okay.
she probably didn't shoot her dad, right? Now, the other problem with the story is Michael's body only had one gunshot wound, not two. This contradicted Isabel's claim that Jeremy shot him, to put him out of his misery, basically. On top of that, we know that Jeremy was adamant that he had nothing to do with Michael's death. And by May 2016, that he had claimed he was completely out of Lori's life and had no idea what happened to Michael.
Okay, and honestly, to top it all off, how would Isabel know that the body was buried when, according to Lori, she had no idea that body was in that pit? Just saying.
Yep. How would your daughter know and you not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And let's just think about this a little bit more. 7 years old, you're very impressionable.
Oh, yeah.
Lori had this elaborate story
Mm-hmm.
to tell the police, and how does it match so well to Isabel's? You know what I mean? Like, was she fed some information by her mother?
Well, that is the big question. And because of all these inconsistencies based on like the timeline evidence, the aggressive evidence, what Lori said, everything, they believe and suspect that Isabel had been coached to tell this story, possibly in an attempt to save her mother from a murder conviction and, life in jail.
And not only that, but it kind of like, it has like that benefit. But then if you think of Lori, it has the benefit of like, you were trying to protect your daughter from like, being a killer. That's why
Yeah.
you didn't tell anyone. That's why you didn't call the police or whatever. Like it could almost, even though it's not believable enough to do so, but it could almost try and make and paint Lori in a more positive, like, light in a way, like.
Yeah, like a protective mama bear kind of role, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on top of Isabel's story, they also had Travis Vilmer testify. So this is now Lori's ex-boyfriend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The one she had the ceremony with.
Yes. Now, he testified that Lori made a statement about Michael Shaver, and I quote, "It's not that he's missing, he's no longer walking this earth."
Ooh.
Lori also told him regarding Michael that something bad had happened and that there was a body on the property.
Say what?
I know.
Was this just like hearsay, like what he remembers her saying to
Telling
him?
him, yeah.
Okay.
So
I guess that's not really hearsay if he's the
No.
one that was with Lori at the time. That, like, that's
She
probably
told
why it was
him.
allowed in
Yeah.
court.
Yeah.
But it is like, do they have any like proof through text messages or anything, or it's just his recollection?
it's just his recollection. Recollection.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Now, there was a second search warrant on the Shaver home, which yielded a presumptive detection of blood stains. So that means they were hidden from the naked eye. And it indicated a positive reaction in the track of the sliding glass door leading from the dining area to the porch. The substance ran in a drip-like pattern down the outside of the trailer. This substance, along with apparent hairs found in the same area, failed to demonstrate a sufficient amount of DNA. I know, I set it up like it was going to be something super crazy, like, oh, DNA, for sure this happened here, but no DNA, nothing came of that DNA.
It was basically a big nothing burger, Becky.
I'm sorry, but it did indicate blood dripping down, so Did it happen there? Most likely.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go back to the flowers that Vanessa received in April 2016.
Yeah, Jeremy's wife.
Yes. So,
With that note that I don't
Oh.
think I'll ever forget. Roses are red. Violets are blue. My wife is a whore. Your husband is too.
yes, that set of flowers. Now, they were purchased for $42.98 using Lori Shaver's checking account. With the order placed on April 5th and delivered on April 11th, a confirmation email was sent immediately after the purchase to Lori. Now, that same morning, the flowers were purchased at 3:18 a.m. Mike Shaver messaged Vanessa online stating, "Your special delivery is to arrive today. Hope to finally hear back from you. Flower emoji." The timing of this Facebook message was immediately after the purchase receipt for the flowers.
So it basically directly links the sender of the Facebook messages to the person using Lori Shaver's bank account.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, with all this evidence presented at court, the jury was sent to deliberate. In mid-September of 2024, they deliberated for 5 hours. They came back and found Lori guilty of second-degree murder. And in November of 2024, Lori Shaver was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of her husband, Michael Shaver. So, I don't know if you caught on, but this just happened like 4 months ago, Bev. 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's super recent.
Well, I mean, she really, like, for 3 years played this whole ruse that he was still alive and well, right?
Yeah.
Like, even sending Facebook messages to his friends, his family, what
Mhm.
have you. So, I mean, that would put us at around 2018.
Mhm.
I mean, still, it's a long time even after that when the police arrived at her house to her getting sentenced. But I'm really glad she was, because I don't doubt that she was the person who did this
No, me either.
at all.
No.
And let's think about the motives, really,
Yes.
because you said there were no motives. And I think maybe it's that there's not like one really clear motive, like maybe a couple, I guess. But I personally think she did this for love,
Or maybe lust
for Jeremy.
for Jeremy.
I really think she did. And I think it backfired aggressively, and that sucked for her.
Yeah.
But I really think that is the motive.
I mean, I can see how it could be the motive, but at the same time, Bev, I have like kind of a hard time thinking. I was about to say that there's a good motive, because you know how. Let me explain why I say good. Because in some cases, it's like very clearly you wanted money.
Yeah.
You know, you wanted to be with your lover. And it was so clear. There's clear arrangements, but he rejected her, you know? Like, he was still with his wife.
After.
I guess it was after.
It was after. But then there's that whole bit about like the potential life insurance thing. So was it also for
money?
Money?
Like, that's what I'm saying. There's just like, and you said it, there's no like clear motive. Like, was it financial? Was it for love? Was she just a dick?
Yeah.
Was she just a dick and wanted to kill her husband? Did she just get tired of him? I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Like, was it for revenge that he had a whole nother relationship and
even
it was
though they
all,
were separated?
you know, like, but you know what I mean? Like, she
Yeah.
went through elaborate measures to like threaten that girl too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but there are motives in this case.
Or
but,
there
like,
could be.
But what was it, Lori?
What was it? Why did you do this?
Kill your husband?
Why didn't you just get a divorce? Like,
yeah.
You know, what makes me think, like, why didn't she just get a divorce is that she made more money than him. She never went after not life insurance, child support. You know, like, she wasn't too concerned with that. So if you had just gotten a divorce, that would have just been easy and you wouldn't have gone to jail. You wouldn't have had your daughter lie for you.
That's why I get what you're saying about the motive. Was it because, like, if I can't have you, then no one will, type of thing, you know, because he's kind of seeing Kendall, even though they ended their relationship.
Well,
but, like,
before this happened.
Was it that? Could it have been that Michael was physically abusive and we just all got this totally fucked up and wrong? Which I'm not saying it was, because I really, really don't think so. But you know what I mean? Like, there was just so many facets to this case. And I guess we'll never know unless we somehow got an interview with Lori. But doubtful.
2020, I think, already did that, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh.
They're a little bigger than us, Bev, but it would be hella cool. Either way, it's super sad. I'm like really appalled with this lady and like all her intricacies and like how she tried to get her daughter to take the blame, even if it was her defense's team idea. She let it happen. You tried to get your daughter to take the fall for you so you just wouldn't have to go to jail for so long, and I think that's absolutely despicable.
Yeah.
She tried to frame Jeremy, which is also despicable. If you're going to kill someone and you're somewhat found out, just maybe be honest. Don't blame other people or try to ruin someone else's life, especially your child's.
Yeah, in the process.
And that poor girl now has to go and either believe your lies for the rest of her life or maybe realize that you killed her father.
Yeah.
And that's something that she's going to have to think about probably the rest of her life and
Oh, yeah.
wonder.
She's going to have to grapple with that. That's going to be tough.
You know, so we have Michael who lost his life and then their daughter who has to maybe have that little guilty conscience right there.
And she doesn't have parents to top it off.
On top of it. So I think it's an absolute travesty all around.
I agree with you,
For
Becky.
everyone. Well, Bev, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for sharing. And just your weekly reminder to download our weekly episodes, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you listen to us on, and give us a follow on our social medias. You can find us at Luminol on the Wall. Can't wait till next week.